It is mailbag time here on Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Get those questions in by using hashtag Bears or super chatting, and we will answer as many as we can here on the show. Here comes Bear Down Productions, hashtag Bears. Out of the following, who do you want and realistically think we can get in the draft? Treylon Burks, Drake London, Justyn Ross, David Bell, George Pickens. I think Burks and London are going to be out of reach. Bears don't have a first-round pick. Not only are they going to be first-rounders, they might be high first-rounders. Maybe Burks dips. Maybe London could if his medical doesn't check out, got injured this year. But I think those are both top 20, top 25 picks. I think the other three guys are all attainable. I can't remember. Did Justyn Ross may have decided to go back to school? I'll have to check that. If he is coming out, he won't be a first-round guy. He had the neck issue a couple of years ago. David Bell is a guy in round 2 I like out of Purdue. George Pickens, excited to watch him in the national championship game for Alabama. So, yeah, those are a couple of guys that I think are much more attainable than Burks and London. Alan Mack, our Dublin fella. Appreciate you tuning in. Top free agents we should go after. Well, I'll tell you this, Alan. Sometime next week, once all the coaching stuff kind of gets underway, we'll probably do a segment of free agent targets, so be out on the lookout for that. Obviously, the major focus has been coach, GM, all that stuff, but free agency and draft coverage is ramping up just around the corner. I can promise you that. I already did a video listing out the Bears free agents, but subscribe and tune in for that. Just a couple off the top. I mean, you think receivers, Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams. You got to make a decision on that. Allen Robinson. Could you get Michael Gallup for cheap? He just tore his ACL. Maybe you get him on a cheaper one-year deal to kind of help fill the gap next year if you lose A-Rob. So I think those are some guys. And then I would obviously look at some offensive linemen and some cornerbacks as well. Jimmy Jackson, should the Bears fire Ted Phillips as well? It's a good question. You know, we talked about it in our news and rumors portion here on our Tuesday live show that, you know, this is on George McCaskey to figure this out. I'm all in on cleaning house. I haven't had as strong of opinions on Phillips as you guys have, but if you fire Nagy and Pace, I'm fine with firing Phillips too. I mean, it's not like me and Phillips are boys or something like that. Like, if you want to just wipe the slate clean and go full reset, let's do it. I mean, no problem with that. I think what's more likely with Phillips is that his role gets adjusted a bit, and he probably kind of leads the charge on the new stadium situation. But yeah, I'm definitely in favor of cleaning house completely. How likely are you? And I want to ask you Bears fans this, and this is an important question because we pride ourselves on interaction with you guys. I read all your comments, and I love the back and forth. Even if we disagree sometimes, it's important to know what you guys are thinking. So I want you guys to answer this question. How likely are you to recommend us, Chicago Bears Now, myself, to a fellow Bears fan? Scale of 1 to 10. 1 being not at all, 10 being very much so, like, hey, this guy's awesome, go subscribe, go check him out. 1 being, this guy sucks, I don't even know why I watch this guy. If it's at a 1, then I don't know why you're watching, but I appreciate it, I guess. And then also at the bottom, what are we doing well? What can we improve on? Love the suggestions. Can't promise we'll, you know, take every suggestion and go and run with it, but we love feedback. If you guys want specific content that we're not doing, that's something we would definitely consider. So how likely are you to recommend us to a Bears fan? Scale of 1 to 10. And then let us know. Give us some specific feedback on what you guys like or dislike about the show. We'll just go ahead and make this the pinned comment. So if you get hit with the YouTube ad break, give us some feedback. And then by the time the ad is over, or you finish commenting, the ad will be over, and you can watch the rest of this mailbag. All right, Benny DeBully, and appreciate you guys' feedback on that. It really helps. I'm going to read through it all. Trade Mack or Quinn and start Trevis Gipson next year. Look, if you can get good trade value for Robert Quinn or Khalil Mack, I'm at least considering that because Trevis Gipson has proven he can at least be a starter. Now, I don't know if he can be a star, but 6.5 sacks this year, just came off a career game against the Giants. Now, the Giants stink, and their O-line's bad, but 6.5 sacks in year 2, has a chance to get over 7 with one more game here. I would at least take calls on Quinn and Mack and see what their value is. If you can scrape out a first-round pick for one of those guys, I mean, that's something to consider, man. It really is. Mad Bro, should Sean Desai, appreciate the super chat, should Sean Desai be the only coach that returns? I don't even know if he'll return. Now, the Bears are up to 5th in total defense in terms of yards allowed. Now, I care more about points, and the Bears are like 20th in points allowed, but a lot of that can be attributed to the poor offense, right? I mean, that's been the story for years here now is defense battles, they run out of gas as the offense continues to go 3 and out or turn it over. I would let the new head coach decide that. That's what you have to pitch to your new head coach. Hey, this is your control. You're building this staff. George McCaskey / whoever the GM is can suggest, hey, we like Sean Desai, Coach B, Coach C, whichever coaches on the staff currently that they like. You can make those suggestions, but ultimately you have to let the new head coach decide. But I like what I've seen from Desai with gaps at key positions, cornerback. Defensive tackle, I think, is an area that you can improve at. So I've been very, very impressed with him. There's no doubt about it. More questions to get to, but first, get going with our sportsbook partner. NFL playoffs, fun to gamble on. Week 18 as well. Go make some money all throughout the rest of the season and into the postseason at chatsports.com/Bears. Use our promo code BEARDOWN. That's all one word, BEARDOWN. When you go to chatsports.com/Bears. You look at this betting matchup this weekend. Slight favorites are Minnesota, 2.5-point favorites. The total over-under between these two teams, 45.5. So we'll see what shakes out. I got to think about this game a little more before I put my money where my mouth is. But if you love this line already, if you're like, hell yeah, I'm betting the Bears, chatsports.com/Bears, promo code BEARDOWN, and that is how you can get going with our sportsbook partner, BetUS, the best sportsbook in the game. Super chat from Lil Squad. Should the Bears extend Roquan? Listen, I mean, you got 2 years of team control, 4th year next year, then 5th year option. Or is next year the 5th year option? Let me check real quick. Either way, I would like to. Roquan Smith is one of the best linebackers in the NFL. This is next year's his 5th year option. So you can either jumpstart his second contract this offseason or let him play out the 5th year. He's decision number 1 this offseason, right? Do you extend him? Do you play out the 5th year? I say decision 1. Decision 1, 2, and 3 is head coach, GM, potentially Ted Phillips. After that, then you worry about the roster. But in terms of the roster, Roquan, making a decision there is the priority. I would like to keep him. If you can get a somewhat of a hometown discount, that would be awesome, but he's probably going to look to cash in and make as much as he can. Super chat from Josh Mearns. Any word on Sean Payton? I think he would be an amazing coach for the Daters. Okay. And hire Riddick as GM. We'll talk Ryan Pace replacements here in a moment on our live show. If you're watching after live, then we've already released this. But as far as Riddick goes, his relationship with Matt Nagy is probably going to be problematic for the Bears. They're not going to hire someone who's Nagy's boy, I don't think, but maybe he can distance himself from Nagy. Sean Payton, there's nothing new, no new chatter there. I'll tell you this. If you want the Bears to have a real shot at Sean Payton, you don't want them to make the playoffs. So cheer for San Francisco to win this weekend. If the Niners win, that eliminates the Saints. If the Niners lose and the Saints win, Saints make the playoffs, you got to wait an extra week. That probably hurts your chances on hiring Sean Payton. Joe2910 asks another super chat. Appreciate you. Name one good thing Ted Phillips has done for this team. Football-wise, I can't name one. But, I think there's stuff behind the scenes he probably does that's valuable to running a business. I'm sure on the business side he's been very valuable. He's a glorified accountant. The problem is they've let him do some things on the football side, and that's poor judgment by George McCaskey, to be plain and simple. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I told you, let's clean house. Let's do it. I completely am in agreement with you on that, Joe. Subscribe to the channel. We're closing in on 39,000 subscribers. I would love to get there before kickoff on Sunday, for sure, by the end of the game on Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings. So hit that big red button and subscribe. We'll continue to have you guys covered with the latest Bears news and rumors all season long, which is just one game left. And into the offseason, that's when it really picks up. So go ahead and subscribe today. Robert Diaz, and we got more super chats to get to, so appreciate you guys flowing them in. Keep them humming. Should the Bears consider Jim Caldwell as head coach? Man went 9-7 and took the Lions to the playoffs with a terrible front office, then got fired for it. Fair point. I think his tenure in Detroit is completely underrated when you consider what they had before and after him. I think I would interview him. Would he be my top guy? No. but I wouldn't hate it. I'd like that better than Leslie Frazier, I'll be honest. Meme Cream, what are our concerns in the draft? I mean, the concerns are that they don't have a ton of draft capital, right? No first-round pick, which is fine. I mean, I don't regret the Fields trade at all. But, I mean, that's the concern. You know, you have less picks, you have less opportunities to get good players in the draft. So, free agency trades, that stuff becomes that much more important. Ooh, a $10 from my boy, the Duke. Now that Adams is for sure staying in Green Bay, is there a true number one receiver we can afford this year? Do we trade up to get one in the draft? So, what do you mean he's for sure staying? Did I miss something? Did Davante Adams sign an extension? Maybe he said something. I'm looking it up on Twitter as we speak. Not saying anything. I assume you're just saying that because they're doing good, the Duke. If I missed something, let me know in the chat. We'll keep an eye on it. But as we film live on Tuesday, I haven't seen an official deal. Maybe he made a comment saying he wants to return. I don't know. But yeah, if he's out of, let's just assume he's out of the mix. Is there a true number one receiver we can attain this year? Yeah, Chris Godwin's a hell of a player. Now, obviously, ACL is a concern for him. You know, Michael Gallup's not really one. Mike Williams is out there. There's good players. Now, there's not a Davante Adams out there, but there's good players you can get. Darnell Mooney's a good player. If you get a quality high-level number 2, low-level number 1 with him, I think that's perfectly fine. Danger with the question, do you like Ryan Day or Jim Harbaugh? Yeah, I think both are good candidates. I would have them they'd be 2 of my top 10 candidates for sure. WB with another super chat. Where would Rodgers go instead of Green Bay? Who cares? Get him out of Green Bay. Real quick, I'll give some real thoughts. I think the Broncos make a ton of sense. They're a quarterback. They're kind of like where the Bears were last year, where their defense is really good, but the quarterbacks are just awful. Raiders, maybe? How about the Giants? Move on from Daniel Jones. That could be an option. We know he's a West Coast guy. I don't think San Francisco makes sense. Seattle, if they get rid of Russ, I don't think he'd want to go to Seattle. Those are a few teams, though, that make sense. Cleveland. That's the other one. Cleveland. If he wants to win a Super Bowl, that roster's ready. And Baker Mayfield, he ain't it. All right, last super chat for this mailbag. Let's talk about it. Asks, with the cap space and limited draft picks, what would be your approach to the offseason when it comes to filling the team's needs? Well, the Bears are actually top 10 in cap space, top 11. They got like 40-something million. Now, half their roster is free agents, so you got to be, pick and choose who to sign, who to let go, etc. But they actually have some money to work with. But yeah, I think you have to consider cutting some guys. We'll have a cut candidates list this offseason as well. You have to consider trading some players for draft capital to get cheaper players. That will all be considered. But again, you can't – my approach is irrelevant. It comes down to who the new GM is. That it starts there, or if it's going to be Ryan Pace. So my approach to the offseason, let's talk about it. My approach is get the GM and head coach in, and then let's figure out the rest later. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to this mailbag. If we didn't get to your question, I apologize. Slide in my DMs at HGramNFL on Instagram. We continue to grow over there. The feedback has been awesome. I appreciate you guys. Still want to do an IG Live some point soon. I'll probably do one after the coach and GM stuff is finalized. So stay tuned for that at HGramNFL, and we will have some fun with it. Should be a good time.